Hi, I'm Thomas and this is Let's Learn Episerver. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to make menus. Menus are an essential component of any website, and we'll start with a simple single-level menu, then a multi-level menu, and finally a breadcrumb menu. If you're interested in following along, go ahead and fire up Visual Studio and create an empty Episerver site. Let's get going, shall we? There are many ways to do things in Episerver, and that's a great testament to its flexibility. However, 99% of the time, if you're looking for a best practice, the place to go is the Alloy demo site. I have one running now, and you can see examples of the menus we'll create today. The main menu at the top, a multi-level menu in the sidebar, and a breadcrumb menu. I like how the demo site makes use of HTML helpers to construct the menu, because that allows us to drop a menu anywhere without having to worry about additional controllers or service classes. Let's get our empty site going. We need to add a model, a view, and a controller for a start page. First, our page type. Control-Shift-A. And we'll call it Start Page. We'll just uncomment the default code here. And now for our controller. Let's reference our start page correctly. And finally, the view. We'll add a folder. A start page. And a partial view called index. And we'll update the reference to our model. Now for a quick build to make sure everything is working. Normally I wouldn't go through all of this basic setup, but I want to emphasize that we're not starting with any custom code here. We'll be borrowing some code from the Alloy demo site in a little while, but only what is necessary to create our menus. To finish our setup, we need to add some start page content. We'll leave it empty since we're only concerned with the menus. We won't be adding any dynamic content to the pages. Next, we need to add our website information. We'll give it a name, Making Menus, and we can copy and paste localhost and the port for our URL. And we'll select our start page. Then we save. That's it for setup. Most of the time, menus are going to have some similar markup, usually a nav element and some sort of list. We'll scaffold out some HTML real quick. Nav, UL, a couple list items, and an anchor with some text inside them. Now, for this to show some actual links from Episerver, we'll need to create some actual pages. Let's go back to the CMS and create a couple more pages. We'll make one called About, and one called Contact. And we'll make sure to publish them. Before we can use the menu helper, we need to grab some files from the Alloy demo site. Hopefully you have one set up for your own reference, but if not, you can grab the code from Episerver's GitHub account. There's a link in the video description. The first file we need is contentextensions.cs. There are two functions in this file, filter for display and visible in menu. These are important for any Episerver site because we don't want to accidentally show content that hasn't been published or content the user does not have permission to view. We'll just copy everything here and paste it in our own content extension.cs file. And make sure to change our namespace back to makingmenus.business. We'll also grab the HTML helpers file from Alloy's helpers folder. In this case, we're only interested in the methods related to the menu helper. That includes menu list, create menu item, get default item template, and the menu item class. We'll copy them and create our own HTML helpers file. We need a helpers folder. And an HTML helpers class. It needs to be a static class. And to fix these errors, we'll go back and grab the using statements from Alloy. After updating our namespace here, we should be done. Time to put this helper to use. The menu list helper expects us to pass in a content item from the content tree to use as a starting point. From there, it will display each content item as a link in the menu. We also need to pass in some HTML for each menu item to use, which the helper calls a template. We'll start by extracting our HTML into a template to pass to the helper. We'll make this into a helper itself called menu item template. And it will expect an HTML helper dot menu item parameter. Menu item comes from the Alloy helper we copied from Alloy earlier. Using our HTML, we'll leave the li tag and replace the anchor tag with a page link HTML helper. At html.pagelink item.page. Now we'll replace our static HTML with a call to Alloy's menu list helper, passing in the start page, site definition current start page. And we'll also pass in our menu item template. And we need to use episerver.web. That's it. Let's build and take a look. There you go. The pages are now being pulled in from Episerver. Let's add one more just to confirm. We'll call this one blog and publish. There it is. Now that we've created a basic menu, let's add some child pages to it. Under blog, we'll create sample article and another article. And we'll publish those. Notice that they don't appear in our menu. For this to work, we have to update our HTML. To get a second level of menu items, we need to add another list within our list items. We'll hardcode the HTML for now. If we save and take a look, you'll see our hard-coded menu items. But we don't want them to appear under every top-level item, only the ones that have children. We do this by checking the has children property of the parent item. If item.hasChildren, and it's lazy loaded, so we have to check its value. Then we'll show the submenu. Visual Studio syntax highlighting seems to be a bit off, but the code looks right, so let's save and check again. And this time, you can see that only blog has child items. Now to replace those with the actual pages. Once again, we'll replace the li tags with the call to the menu list helper. This time we'll pass in the current item instead of the start page. Item.page, not parent, .content link. And we'll pass in our template again. We'll save and refresh once more. And there you have it. Because we're calling the menu list helper recursively, we can have as many menu levels as we want. Let's add another page under sample article. We'll call it nested article. And publish. There you go. Nested article appears under sample article. To finish this video, we'll make one more type of menu, a breadcrumb menu. Breadcrumbs are a way for a user to see how deep they are into a website, with links going from the current page back to the start page. In this case, if you were on the nested article page, you would see links going to sample article, blog, and then the start page. Where my cursor is right now is actually a breadcrumb menu used by Episerver's UI. Let's remove our current menu code and start fresh for this menu. Since the breadcrumb trail will begin at the start page, we'll add a link for the start page first. At html.contentlink, and we'll pass in site definition.current.startpage. And we'll use a / to separate it from the next breadcrumb item. Next, we'll fill out our menu item template. If the menu item isn't selected, meaning it's not part of the breadcrumb trail, we'll just return. We don't want those pages in our breadcrumb menu. I'll just clean up the spacing a bit. I'm not sure why, but Visual Studio seems to struggle a lot with C# formatting and razor views. It probably doesn't help that I'm using 2 spaces for indentation instead of the usual 4. If the item is the current page in the breadcrumb menu, item.page.contentlink.id equals model.contentlink.id. Then we're at the end of the breadcrumb trail. We'll just display the name of the page. Otherwise, we need to make a link for the page, but only if it has a display template. An example of when you might not have a display template would be a folder or a container page. If it doesn't have a template, we'll just show the page name instead of a link. Since our menu isn't at the current page yet, we'll add a breadcrumb divider after the menu item. We're using a / as the separator, so we'll enclose that in text tags. And we'll call the menu list helper again, starting at this item this time. Now to kick things off, we'll add the menu list helper after our start page link. Let's save and take a look at the result. There's our breadcrumb menu. So we've seen how easy it is to add menus into your Episerver site using Alloy's helper methods. I hope you found this quick overview on menus useful. Of course, this was only a primer. In the real world, you'll have to deal with styling, accessibility, and sometimes bizarre situations you never would have considered. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. And thanks for watching. Let's learn Episerver.